Fantasy football podcast called Living the Stream comes to you each week. Streaming recommendations during NFL season, it's not just tongue-in-cheek. Quarterback, defense, tight end recommendations based on opposition matchup. Here are your podcast hosts, JJ Zacharyson and Danny Carter, living the stream.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Living the Stream. I'm JJ Zacharyson, the late round quarterback, and as always, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Danny Carter. Danny, what's going on, buddy?
We're bringing the energy today. We have so much energy. I'm kidding. I'm so tired, but
I'm very tired. I was thinking that before. I hope this is not a low energy show because
No,
I needed you to bring the energy for me. And if we're both down, this is like a marriage.
Yeah,
you know,
right. Yeah, somebody has to step up.
Someone has to step up in a marriage. So, people say marriage is 50-50. That's not true. Sometimes it's 70-30. Sometimes
That's
it's
right.
80-20. Sometimes it's 90-10. And you got to kind of feel that out, day to day.
That's analytics.
Right. That's right. Every
It's
marriage
the
really
analytics
comes down to
the analytics of marriage, which is JJ's book coming out in December.
Oh man, I'm sure there's a book on that exact topic.
As long as it averages out to 50-50. I think that's the key. When you break
right.
when you break down the metrics, I think if it eventually comes around to 50-50. But you're right, it's very rarely split down the middle. It's a lot of times it's 70-30.
Speaking of not being split down the middle, this is what we call a segue in the biz.
Yeah, and you're the best in the business at it.
The best in the business at doing this. Speaking of not being, I don't even remember what the segue was. Not being split down the middle. The Buffalo Bills, Denny, they are not split down the middle. They decided to fire Ken Dorsey.
Yes, they did
today. So they have a new offensive coordinator. They have Joe Brady. It is not Jover for Joe Brady. He will be the OC for Buffalo. It's kind of an interesting move because it feels like that Ken Dorsey was probably just a little bit of a scapegoat here. Would you agree?
Yeah. So I actually want to get your take on it because my take is that I've looked at the numbers very strongly, very powerfully over the past few hours, and all the numbers suggest that the Bills offense is quite good.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I know that Bills fans are mad about Josh Allen turning it over, but I feel like that's not a Ken Dorsey problem. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I haven't liked Dorsey just because I think that they do really stupid things like throughout games, right? Like in terms of play calling and like I want teams to air it out, but there are times where the Bills do it when they really don't need to do it, and they force the ball down the field when they really don't need to force the ball down the field. It's those stupid things where I am excited that he's no longer offensive coordinator, but I think my take is I think Sean McDermott is really, really overrated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's getting by on the 2020 success, right?
Yeah, and I think I think part of it too is that he's probably not a bad leader of men, and I think that he's great at like he handled. I don't think that there are many people that could have handled the DeMar Hamlin situation better than McDermott did, right, last season, and so. There's that, and there's this notion that he really brought the Bills back from irrelevancy, and so he has sort of this place in Buffalo that probably gets him a couple of years, right? But at some point, you got to look at what the Bills are doing, and a lot of the reasons as to why they're 5-5 right now seem like between the ear reasons, and any between the ear reasons usually point at the head coach. I mean, the 12-man on the field thing last night, like that penalty,
it's unreal.
That is not a Ken Dorsey thing. That's quite literally not at all.
He was fired because of it. Because I mean, if they have 11 guys on the field and Will Lutz misses that field goal, Ken Dorsey still has a job.
Yeah, I lost a fantasy matchup because of Will Lutz last night.
No way.
Denny, I have a league where I'm dead. It's like I'm actually alive in a lot of leagues right now. I still think that I'm alive in Apex, for the record.
You are unfortunately, after kicking my ass all over the field, you are alive.
I think I could make an epic comeback in Apex, but it's I have like 2 leagues where I'm just really dead. The LTS listener league being the other one. And this league, I was up by 42 points and I was facing Will Lutz, the Buffalo Bills defense,
and
Javonte Williams.
Oh man,
and I lost by a point.
Oh.
And the crazy thing is that those three guys aren't really correlated at all. Like there's nothing really going on there that really suggests that I should have lost that game and I lost the game. I don't really care that much, but it was still tilting.
Yeah, well, at least you were already dead.
But yeah, exactly. Those kinds of losses I can handle, whatever. I'll move on. But back to the Bills.
Yeah, right.
You're right. Ken Dorsey got fired because of a mistake that his unit didn't even make.
You're right, and that's wild to me. This is a guy who was the hottest name in offensive play calling 2 years ago. You know, I mean, not that long ago. We do have one. I just want to bring up this point. We have one viewer who says, "What is a Ken Dorsey problem is going an entire game without ever putting Josh Allen under center." I don't know. I don't know if that's an issue at all. I think the Bengals do that with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's never under center, almost.
Yeah, I think I don't think the problem is really offensive. I think that there's a lot of bad luck going on with Buffalo, and people hate whenever you start to say variance and bad luck and stuff when it comes to analysis. I saw Sam Monson from PFF send a tweet out that said that Josh Allen this season, Denny, he's leading the league in interceptions right now, right? I think that he's leading the league in interceptions. He's pacing to have his highest interception season as a result, and he has his lowest turnover worthy play rate of his career right now.
Very unlucky,
just incredibly unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, look, this Bills team is fourth in point differential.
It's crazy
differential. And they're 5-5, and their people are burying them, and rightfully so. I get that. I don't understand how a team can be so unlucky so consistently, but they really have been. And Ken Dorsey paid the price. Nothing's going to change with this offense, though. You know, this is a non-starter as far as like changing the team.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like this is Josh Allen. Like this is what Josh Allen is what he does, and you take the highs with the highs and the lows with the lows, because that's what Josh Allen is about. I mean, look at like you can't sit there and be like the reason why they should. I mean, we all know that they probably should have beaten Kansas City a few years ago in the playoffs. You can't sit there and like take that and say, this is Josh Allen, he's so good. And then not understand that because of the way that he plays and the style, they were able to do that in the first place.
Yeah. By the way, the thing about they never have Josh Allen under center. They have Josh Allen under center 37% of the time. So it's they only have the 8th highest shotgun rate in the league. I don't think that's quite the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case either. I mean, you could maybe argue like the James Cook usage and maybe like, but any like running back usage, like I've poo-pooed on Arthur Smith enough, and I think we all saw this past week that like Bijan Robinson is more than capable at the goal line and he can do these things. But like at the end of the day, those edges at running back are not really going to be the biggest difference maker for a team's bottom line on offense, right?
They have the second best rush EPA.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, it's very hard. I mean, obviously, you know, Josh Allen's going to be part of the reason for that, but like those micro decisions aren't necessarily going to be the reason why this team is good or this team's not. But I do think that you can still analyze those individual decisions to see and to say, is this coach being optimal with the way that they're running the team and the offense? Yeah. And that's where I think maybe you could start to question some things, but I think a lot of it just comes down to pure luck. Like this is just an unlucky Bills team right now.
It is. And I bet you they can turn it around. You know, hearing that stat from Sam Monson makes me think that, you know, they could get on the right side of variance going forward. And I'm playing Josh Allen in a GPP this week. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Bills offense is, and the Buffalo Bills team is the Tony Pollard of NFL teams.
Yeah. Although
Tony Pollard's not good.
I was going to say Tony Pollard lacks the juice.
My take is that, so last week on 15 transactions, I had both Bijan and Tony Pollard as buys, right?
I heard, yeah.
The Bijan take was definitely correct, right? Because they switched the way they used them.
Yep.
Everything's looking great from that perspective. And I even ranted about that on this show last week. But the Tony Pollard one, a big, just a lot of S in my F.
I didn't even know that was legal.
I didn't either. Tony Pollard, though, if you look, I like using PFF has a really good expected fantasy points model that I reference a lot. They have Tony Pollard right now as playing 4.5 PPR points below expectation per game this season. He should have 9 touchdowns and he scored 2 of them. This is going to be on my 10 Trends episode tomorrow. Denny, if he were to score 4 more touchdowns this year, right? So he has 2 touchdowns, should have 9. Let's say he scored 6. Okay. That seems reasonable, right? Sure. We're still under expectation.
Way under.
Right. Way under expectation, but he scores 4 more touchdowns. Guess what, Denny? He'd be a low end RB1 in points per game.
I mean, okay, I believe you, and that actually sounds kind of crazy considering how the season has gone. But also, that's horrifying for what we expected out of him.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think that like part of the problem with Tony Pollard right now is the way that we viewed him entering the season, and the anchoring bias we then have with what we thought. Like, you need to just like. The way that I approach fantasy football in my analysis, and people might hate it, I think it's just the rational thing to do.
People definitely don't hate your approach to fantasy football.
Some people do. I get some people despise the fact that I don't take these like uber strong stances and I'm not throwing hot takes out and stuff. But like, I don't care where I stood on players week 1. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I took an L on Tony Pollard. I'm probably taking an L on Bijan Robinson. Like,
but everybody took an L on Pollard.
Yeah. Okay. Right. But listen, I'm not trying to like defend. That's not what I'm even really getting at here. I'm just saying that like all I look at week to week is where we're at and where we're going. Right. I don't care. Like if I go on my podcast and say, buy Tony Pollard, it literally has nothing to do with how I felt about Tony Pollard at the beginning of the season. I don't care. It just doesn't matter to me. Like I've established myself enough within the space and with my analysis and my confidence in my process that like, I don't need to sit here and defend, a take that I had in August because I'm going to be wrong about stuff. I'm going to be right about stuff, whatever. Like, this is just the way that it is. This is growth as a human too. And so with the Tony Pollard stuff though, so many people like hate even listening to advice about Tony Pollard because the same people who are giving that advice about Tony Pollard were the ones that said to draft him in the first place. And so people just hate the deliverer, right? Like they're going to listen to my 10 Trends episode tomorrow and they're going to vomit all over their dashboard because they're so sick of hearing about this and hearing about Tony Pollard, like regression hitting Tony Pollard. But I'm telling you right now, regression, all processes, like all sound processes would say that he's going to be better moving forward. Is he going to be the high end RB1 that we thought? No, it's not going to happen.
No, that's Jover.
That's Jover. But because he's not the same running back as he was last year. That's part of the problem, right? He's not breaking tackles at the same rate. He's just not as good, right? But if he sees the exact same opportunities, right?
Yeah.
I saw someone in the comments said, JJ's pretty cool except for the fantasy football stuff.
Never owned.
But anyway, so the Tony, so if he sees the exact same workload and volume that he's seeing right now, if he sees that moving forward, good schedule, goal line work. He's still seeing goal line work, even though he's not converting at the goal line. If he still sees those things, he's going to score, I would say, back to what he should, like, even if he was playing a below X, like maybe in that 15 PPR point per game range.
My one pushback would be that the Cowboys have become our Cowboys since the bye week, and they are ultra super pass heavy. Okay, the kids are saying this. Ultra super pass heavy.
I don't think that's bad. Do you think it's bad that they're pass heavy right now for Pollard? Yeah, because he's not really super involved in the passing game. That's that was a problem last week.
He's not commanding targets like he usually does.
Yeah,
I think back to that play against the Chargers where it was a scramble drill sort of thing, and Dak shovels it to Pollard, and Pollard breaks in the open field, and he gets tracked down by like a lineman. Like what is that? Like Tony Pollard is slower than Zeke at this point. My take, and this is an honest take, that I'm not just trying to be inflammatory. This Dallas offense, from a real football standpoint, is way better with Rico Dowdle than with Tony Pollard.
Man, it's so funny how the narrative in a year. No, I'm not saying I get your take. I understand it. I'm not diminishing your take. I'm saying It's so funny that it's turned into literally Zeke and Pollard again.
It has, and so Rico Dowdle, way better in yards after contact per attempt, has half as many rushes of 10 plus yards, despite only having 47 carries, or I'm sorry, 47 carries on the season. He's just better. Like Dowdle is better right now. I don't know why Pollard is terrible, but he is.
That's the thing. I mean, is it the injury? Because every injury expert says that the stuff over the offseason, like the surgery and stuff that he had, is not. It doesn't impact what's going on right now. And I'm like, that's literally the only main thing that, well, I know that he's not seeing the exact same kind of runs, but like, that's the main thing that changed year over year.
Didn't he gain weight? He put on a lot of weight.
Did he put on weight? I don't know.
Yeah. You know how every time like a smaller back gets a bigger workload, they're like, I gained 50 pounds.
Yeah. And
then they immediately break down and you're like, well, that of course you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, his legs split in two last time I saw in last season against the Niners. So I don't know. I thought that might have had something to do with it.
Yeah. Look, I still think Pollard is going to see a decent workload. And if he's seeing the goal line work and he's going to be used more, I mean, even his route participation last week, I know that his target share was 0. I don't think he saw a single target. I'm looking on my other monitor right now and I'm going to type in his name so I can pull this up. I know his route participation. Yeah, it was still, he ran a route on 57% of their dropbacks last week. Like it was still not that bad from a running back perspective. So like that's going to regress a little bit. Schedule's great. I think the passing volume, I think their pass heavy approach is not the end of the world because they are more efficient offensively. I mean, they're better offensively and Dak is playing out of his GD mind. I mean, he's amazing.
I mean, all credit to McCarthy. I mean, they have gone super pass heavy. They've based the entire offense around CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is going nuclear, and CeeDee Lamb, by the way, has gotten pretty unlucky in the red zone and in the green zone this season. So I actually don't think that he's not getting away with it on any level. CeeDee Lamb is out of control, like a league winner type.
Yeah. For as wrong as I was about Tony Pollard this year, I did hit the exact date and time for buying the Dallas passing attack, which so that's I made up for it a little bit for folks who got screwed with the advice of taking Tony Pollard. All right, Denny, let's look at what happened last week, week 10, probably our worst week of the season, if I'm being honest with you. It was like from now through the end of the year, I think it's just going to be very, very rough because we've talked about, Dalton Kincaid and Trey McBride and these guys who are plug and play tight ends now at this point. It's like, hopefully you guys have them because we were talking about them even the week before, their big like breakouts happened. So Will Levis only scored 6 fantasy points. We did have Josh Dobbs with 25, which by the way, I posted a Josh Dobbs TikTok. Did you see that on Twitter?
I did.
And it's like the tweets that I feel worst about, like, cause it was stealing content from, I mean, it's not like stealing content, but I just took it from TikTok and I said, we don't deserve Josh Dobbs or whatever. But it was so good. It was Creed.
Is it going nuclear?
Let's go nuclear. Yeah, it's got like 16,000 likes and 1,300 retweets. And
I know. Look, I actually don't. There's no rhyme or reason for why my posts. Some posts go crazy and some posts don't. The posts I'm really proud of, I'm like, oh hell yeah, here we go. And then I check back and it's like 12 what do you call them? Reply guys. 12.
Yeah,
12 reply guys.
My greatest tweet that like a top 10 tweet that I ever sent. There was remember that Dresser Wynn guy?
Yeah.
I had to tweet whenever he was potentially going to like play for
Minnesota
Rams. Oh. Yeah. I never heard of this guy in my life, Dresser Wynn.
No one has.
But I sent a tweet out and it said something along the lines of, oh, Dresser Wynn is what I say to myself when I'm looking for something to wear and all my clothes are clean. Right? It was a great dad joke and it got like 40 likes. And I'm screw you guys. Screw you.
Yeah, you don't deserve me.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a top 5 to 10 tweet of my life. And you guys are just like, this is dumb. You're stupid. This is not funny.
We have a viewer who says, name 5 Creed songs.
Higher. Okay, your turn.
Oh, come on. With Eyes Wide Open.
Oh, is that a Creed song?
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
With arms wide. No, wait, isn't it Arms Wide Open?
With arms wide open.
Yeah.
Right.
With arms wide open. Yeah.
Into the sunlight. I don't know.
Yeah, this podcast is a Creed podcast. People forget.
Yeah. By the way, the Creed lead singer clearly just listened to a lot of Eddie Vedder in the 90s and was like, I can do that.
So what's really funny, I don't know what genre it is. I was talking to my buddy about this because we on like our thing, we're on the TikTok where people make fun of that like sort of like early 2000s pop punk kind of voice. And I know that Creed doesn't really fall into that category, but it's sort of like it's like the tonight will be the night, you know, that voice, you know. and so we make fun of it all the time. And the guy who I can't remember his name. I wish I could shout him out, but the guy who was stitched with Josh Dobbs in that video that Dobbs pulled from singing Higher, he does that voice and he does those songs and stuff. So I've seen that guy for like 2 years now, like on my TikTok feed.
Right.
And then it was great to see Josh Dobbs, you know, use him.
Are you talking about early 2000s when everybody sounded like they were from California?
Yeah. Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
That was a little bit, it's a little bit like they're trying to like rip off Green Day. Although Green Day dude, the Billy Joel, whatever his name is, he's trying to be British in the 90s. So, by the way, we have Diego Lopez says Eddie Vedder's voice is annoying, and Diego, I have to ask you to please leave. You just got to go,
man.
You got it. This will not be tolerated.
Quite the My Sacrifice was another one. My Sacrifice.
every Creed guitar lick is the exact same.
It's all like that.
I think you just turned into Elvis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, let's go back to our. So we had Taylor Heineke also who got pulled. He got hurt though in that game.
He did. It's Jover for him.
Yeah, 10 points for him. Gerald Everett had a goose egg. Jonnu Smith had 1.1 and Juwan Johnson had 1.2. We literally went from the greatest tight end streaming week of all time to the worst tight end streaming week of all time.
But we're working with scraps, guys. Like if you don't have Trey McBride, that's on you.
That's true. That's very, very true. By the way, it's hilarious. I know that we're going in so many directions here, but I want to tell a story about a league that I'm in. It's Edwin Porras's injury prone invitational.
Yeah.
And I'm in second place. I sent a DM to you and Reeves today. I feel like every league I'm in, I'm doing okay, and then Reeves is just one spot ahead of me.
Oh, really? Yeah, right.
In every league, he's crushing this year. Anyway, so in this league against Edwin, I have Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and DeAndre Swift. It's a super flex league. And I had traded to get Jalen Hurts. I'd done a trade with Edwin earlier in the season. And I had those three guys on bye. And so my only quarterback this week in the super flex league was Zach Wilson. Okay. And I ended up scoring the most points in the league because I had just like CeeDee Lamb, Brian Robinson, like just everyone went off. And in my super flex spot in a non-tight end premium league was Trey McBride. And so like imagine facing a tight end in the super flex spot. How just demoralizing that would be to get a 22 burger against you out of that slot because you used a tight end.
No, you can't recover from that, by the way.
Yeah. Someone said, spoiler alert, JJ wrecked Edwin. Yeah, I did wreck Edwin. It felt good. I will I've been texting him all morning about it.
Man, a tight end in the super flex spot, that's the process right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that when a tight end, when you score the most points with Zach Wilson as your only quarterback in a super flex league in the league, I think you can talk a little less, you know? You can say a little bit. And by the way, someone said in chat if I shorten words with my daughter and stuff whenever I'm talking. I do it all the time. My wife hates it. I every morning I tell Avery to B or T.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah, every morning. See, but you know what it means. You know what it means.
I often say fudge in front of my. I don't know. That's not my one. It's not an abbreviation. It's just a replacement. But I'll be like fudge.
Yeah, I mean that's good that you can stop yourself.
And but my son Xavier, he'll actually look at me sideways like, what?
Does he know that? Did I tell you how I asked Avery what a bad word, like if she knew any bad words? Did I tell you about this? No. Did I tell you about this? I asked her if she knew any bad words, and she goes, I know a bad word. And I'm like, oh boy. I was like, I was just really curious. So I was like, you can tell me right now. I mean, you're not gonna get in trouble if you say it. And she goes, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you can say it. And she looks around, back and forth, and she goes, hate.
Oh, that's cute.
She's the sweetest little thing.
That's so cute. Yeah, my daughter said shit the other day.
Oh wow, okay.
And I was like, what? I was like, what'd you say? She said it again, and I was like, okay, all right, just so you know, we don't say that.
Yeah.
We don't say that word publicly. Okay. Where'd you hear this? My friend said it at school. So that's where you heard it? She said, yeah. I said, okay, we're not going to say that word anymore. And she was like, wait, did I just say a bad word? Wait.
That's funny. Did you grow up in a house where it was like frowned upon to swear?
Oh yeah.
Same.
Oh my goodness.
Same. Like worse than murder in my house is swearing.
None of it. Like I couldn't say anything. I mean, I was saying like gosh darn until I was like 18.
Yeah. I don't want to be as strict with my kids about that kind of stuff as I was growing up.
I still don't swear in front of my parents. I still don't.
Oh, really? I started to because I just don't care anymore. But but not nearly as much because I like they just don't like they'll even watch movies, and if it's too vulgar or whatever, they just don't want to watch it anymore.
Right. My parents too. Oh God, this language. Jesus. Oh Jesus Christ, this language. And I'm like, okay, so they really don't like. And so I'll self-censor, I'll be like, this whole dang game is messed up.
Yeah.
But then my dad will drop like a string, like he'll curse a blue streak, like a freaking sailor. And I'm like, oh, okay. So are we doing this? No, I still.
See, your dad comes across as someone who would do that.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I mean, my dad has been a used car wholesaler for his entire adult life. So he has cursed, and I've heard him curse many times, but I still don't feel comfortable. I still feel like I can't say certain things in front of him. I say son of a gun. I said it the other day.
Wow.
I said, man, this son of a gun.
It's impressive that you can like hold yourself back. Me, I just can't do it anymore. And
really?
I try to definitely with kids and stuff, but like when you're around children, you're not like in like a swearing environment. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I'm playing with trucks with CJ and stuff. It's like I'm not gonna like what am I gonna say? Like the drop an F-bomb because the like I'm rolling the truck the wrong way or something like that. So I think that's the reason why I'm not, but I just don't want to be as like, I don't want them to swear. I don't want them to be like the 12-year-olds dropping F-bombs, but I don't want them to feel so feared of words like that.
Yeah, no, me neither. I mean, occasionally Xavier will drop one like in the heat of the moment. And the key is for me is that you can't show that you're rattled. Even if you're internally very rattled, extremely so, you have to just be like, yeah. Because if you react, if you're like, oh, we do not talk like that, then you're giving away the game. Like they're like, okay, well, I got you. Like I know how to get you now.
Right. I think having children, the biggest thing is that you realize that they test your patience, of course, but like you realize that the best way to solve problems is to let the problems not be a big deal. Like literally everything. Like
you have to. Yes, that's right. That's right. Everything. You have to show that you're in charge.
Yeah. And you're clear. You're calm, cool, and
charge. Yes. If the kid is taking charge, it's over. Like you've completely lost.
Yeah, but you can then take that to other parts of your life too.
Yeah.
And then my daughter teaches me, this I know we are rambling like crazy, but I think it's fun. Right. Yeah. My daughter this week, she comes home from school the other day, and she said that these two boys on the playground, she's in kindergarten, mind you, these two boys on the playground called her a loser. Okay. And they're just boys like just calling names and stuff. And I was like, well, how did that make you feel? How did you react? And she goes, oh, I didn't care because I'm not a loser.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's strong.
Right? That's what I was like those are the moments where then I'm like, wow, like you take all this crap on social media and like it just like have to deal with that kind of thing on your but what's the matter? Like it just doesn't matter.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, there have been cases where I have felt a need to explain why a kid might say something to my kids, like loser, like other like mean names. And once I get to know the kid, I'll say, hey, like this kid's insecure, and that's mostly what it boils down to with children is that they're trying to hide their insecurities, cover up for those. And so I try to explain that to my kids because I think it really helps. It helps them be like, oh, I see. There's like a reason why they're doing it.
We had that literal conversation with her yesterday, but we clearly, we didn't really have to get that deep into it because she seemed to not really care. Anyway.
Okay.
Defenses last week were actually good. We had the Seahawks with 5, the Bucks with 13, the Bears with 7, and the Raiders with 8. So defense was fine. Everything else was complete trash. Denny, let's move on to our quarterback streamers this week. I'm going to kick things off because I want to preface and say there is literally 0 quarterback streamers below like the 30% rostered range. There's just
it's
none.
bad. Yeah.
Like there's not even like usable. Everyone's rostering like multiple quarterbacks this year. It's just a different environment than what we've seen in the past. And so keep that in mind. So I'll kick things off, Denny. I'll just say Jordan Love. He's about 40% rostered right now. I know he's not available in your league though. He's actually only scored below 13.8 points once this year. So he hasn't been that bad from like a floor perspective. It's really just been a ceiling one over the last like 4 or 5 weeks. But he's facing the Chargers. They're the top team in adjusted fantasy points allowed. This matchup, LA has allowed 4.4 more points per game to quarterbacks than what those quarterbacks average every week. So if a quarterback is averaging 15 points per game against LA, they're scoring 19.4 points per game. Their team total isn't great, but I think the matchup is at least there for Jordan Love.
Yeah, I have Matthew Stafford, and folks, I looked extremely strongly into the numbers, and Matthew Stafford has been horrific, like on every level this year. He's dead last in completion rate over expected,
which is crazy because he started really hot.
Yeah,
like the first couple of weeks of the season without Cooper Kupp, right? I mean, and Cooper Kupp has been not. I mean, hopefully Cooper Kupp can turn it around because he has not been very good last month.
Yeah. So okay. Stafford's playing Seattle, 46-point total, so that's not bad. Like I said, Stafford's struggled across the board. He should be back from his finger injury. We'll see. So in week 1, he dropped back 42 times against the Seahawks and threw for 335 yards and 0 touchdowns somehow. So that's kind of what you're going with. But boy, he has been bad. And the Rams have actually tried to like cover up for that by being balanced or even run heavy. Over the past month or so. So, you have to be pretty desperate.
Let's move on to tight end. I'm going to go with Jordan Love, his tight end mate.
I was like, you just talked about it.
What's that?
I thought you were going with Jordan Love at tight end.
Yeah, Jordan Love at tight end. If you can use Jordan Love at tight end, I think that's not a bad idea. Luke Musgrave. He has an above average matchup. The Chargers are 14th in adjusted target share allowed to tight ends. They're 5th in adjusted points allowed to tight ends. Musgrave's averaging a 15% target share over his last 5, so he's relatively involved. It's not a bad target share for tight ends. The Packers will probably be in a fairly pass-heavy script in this game. I think Musgrave's fine. Again, it's tough at tight end, just like it is at quarterback. Defense, it's easy, but the other 2 positions, it's tough.
Oh yeah, no, tight end's bad. Michael, don't call me Myers Mayer. That was a struggle. He's caught a touchdown last week, so he has that going for him.
It was a nice touchdown too. It was a nice catch.
And the only end zone target of the week for the Raiders, so that's good. The Raiders are big dogs here, 12-point dogs against the Dolphins in Miami. Michael Mayer has run about a 58% route rate over the past 2 weeks. Folks, that's better than Austin Hooper's 27% route rate. That's what I'll say about that. And Mayer has been targeted on 21% of his routes over the past 2 games, and that's not horrible. But again, absolute desperate option here.
Chigakonkwo is another one. I don't like this matchup. It's not especially special against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been a little bit below average as a matchup for tight ends, but Chiga's seen a 19% target share per game over his last 5, Denny. That's not bad at all. There's a chance for a bounce back for Jacksonville, I think, offensively, and them just playing better, which could force a pass heavier script for Tennessee. Again, tight end's kind of weak. It's kind of rough out there.
Yeah.
So you could go his direction, but hopefully you have a better option.
Titans are really bad pass defense. The Bucks did not take full advantage of that last week. Yeah. Unfortunately for my DFS teams. Anyway, I have guys, look, we had to talk about Tanner Hudson, okay? And he's a real NFL player, and I won't hear otherwise. Tanner Hudson's a Bengals tight end. He's basically splitting routes 50-50 with Irv Smith IV. But get this, JJ, here are some stats for you. Only nine tight ends have more targets than Tanner Hudson over the past 2 weeks. And his 10 receptions over that span are 8th among tight ends. So what are we doing here? Why is this guy not 100% rostered?
That's true. That's true.
The routes are bad. The routes are real bad. But But for some reason, I guess with T. Higgins out, there's a trickle down effect, right? So like Trent Irwin gets involved, Tyler Boyd gets a boost, Tanner Hudson gets a boost. So you got that.
Yeah, I mean, he ran the most routes at tight end for them last week. I'm looking at, and 39% route participation. That I look at like the route data that's out there is going to be different depending on the source you look at. So I'm just calculating. I use next gen stats and get their routes and just divide by dropbacks. But 39%. I mean, it's not great, but it's still usable in some way. And he seems to have a good target rate when he's on the field. So that's good to see too. So maybe it'll increase a little bit here in week number 11. Denny, let's move on to defenses. I got the Washington Commanders against the Giants. This one's easy. Tommy DeVito in his 2 games as starter, he's thrown 3 picks, and the Giants have allowed 13 sacks in those 2 games. 13. So Washington's up next. They're big favorites. Just do it.
Poor Daniel DeVito. Lions playing the Bears. Lions are 10-point favorites, so should be lots of negative script to take advantage of for the Detroit defense. Chicago's allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing defenses, and the Bears have what Pro Football Focus grades as the league's 7th worst pass blocking offensive line. We could have a sack-based floor.
Next one is the Jacksonville Jags. They get Tennessee this week. With Will Levis starting, Tennessee is actually 5th worst in pressure rate allowed. So it's over the last 3 weeks. And they're bottom 10 in sack rate allowed. Jacksonville's a 6.5-point favorite. Tennessee only has a 17-point implied team total. So I think the Jags work.
Dolphins at home against the Raiders. By the way, the Raiders are definitely going to win this game.
Wow.
Well, not win. They'll cover. 12-point favorite. Come on. That's
okay. You think they're going to cover?
That's wild. Like Antonio Pierce is not losing by 12 points. I'm sorry. I mean, this is about getting the Raiders into a bad script where they have to pass more than they want to, because boy, they do not want to pass. That's pretty clear over the past couple of weeks after after they were freed from Josh McDaniels' iron grip. Aiden O'Connell, 31st out of 33 qualifying quarterbacks in completion rate over expected over the past 2 weeks. He is quite bad.
Yeah. To recap, we have Miami, Detroit, Jacksonville, Washington, Chigakonkwo, Michael Mayer, Luke Musgrave, and your boy Tanner Hudson, Matthew Stafford, and Jordan Love. That is a weak streaming week.
It's not good.
Not great. Let's move on to Twitter. We have some questions from last week. Listen, guys, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there. Send us more questions on Twitter every week. We need more.
Yeah. What's going on with you guys?
Yeah, I feel like this season's been a little bit slower, and I know that the download numbers haven't changed. So get on it. I mean, like, ask us anything.
Yeah.
AUA. Ask us anything.
Yeah. I mean, are you all okay? I mean, you usually flooding us with questions, and every week I'm like, JJ's like, are we going to be able to have enough questions?
Yeah. Are we going to have a show this week? When are we just going to have to shut this show down? Is that what's going to happen? All right. This is from last week. It's from Chris H. Riley. It says, unless Riley has a silent H at the beginning of it. How would you rank each of these sports as a live experience? Denny is exempt since he's never watched a game. All right. So you have NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, Power 5, college football. Have you been to each of these items?
I've never been to a college football game.
Never been to any college, not even Maryland?
No.
Really?
I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but no.
Were you there when Vernon Davis was there?
I was, yep.
Yeah, you could have seen VD, man. Could have seen him crush. I mean, I haven't been to to be fair, although I went to a Penn State game before, so that never mind. That counts. That's definitely like, I was gonna say I've never been to I never experienced like an SEC game, which I've heard like Alabama, LSU, those kinds of games are just like next level insane, just absurd. And I had a buddy who was at the Alabama game last week, and he's like, or at least maybe it was this past weekend, but he was like, there were like laser shows and stuff. Like it's just like this insane production going on at these colleges. So I haven't experienced that before. Okay. But all right, so I would say my favorite is NHL.
Yeah, people love hockey live.
Hockey live is unbelievable.
I've never been to a hockey game.
Hockey live is great. And then I'd say second is probably NBA. Because there's a lot more like communication with what's going on, and a lot more like you just feel more connected to what's going on in the field and on the court rather. And then I'd say NFL next, then Power 5, and then MLB. That's my ranking.
Yeah, baseball's boring.
Baseball's just way too boring. Baseball's fine. I would probably rank baseball higher when it comes to like nostalgia, and probably once my kids are older and taking them more frequently to games and stuff and like having that experience with them, because probably going to take them to way more baseball games than football games in their lifetime. But it's just not there for me yet.
I would not go to a Ravens or Commanders game if you gave me tickets for free. I wouldn't go.
I am kind of over the live NFL experience. Do you remember I went to that Steelers Ravens Thanksgiving game years ago when Le'Veon Bell got crushed? Oh. Yeah, like it was the Tomlin sideline game. That all happened the same game.
Oh my gosh. Would Tomlin tripped Jacoby
Jones,
right.
Jacoby Jones, yeah. And so I was at that game, and I was wearing my Brett Kiesel Bumblebee jersey. Remember the Bumblebee jersey?
Yeah.
I got trashed beyond belief by Ravens fans that entire time.
It's awful. The environment is awful. I went to a Dolphins Ravens game in 1997 where I was wearing my Merino jersey, and there were grown men cursing at me. I was 14. Okay. Yeah. 14. They were burning a Merino jersey like 3 rows ahead of me, like pouring something on it, like gas, I guess, and lighting it up. Like the NFL game experience has got to be the worst ever. I would never. First of all, okay, let me just be clear about this. I would never go to a sporting event. Period.
just any sporting event.
I don't want to ever go to another.
I went to one 3 weeks ago. I went to technically a Power 5 college football game. I went to the NC State game. They played Clemson, and I was at that game, and they beat them. Drove up to Raleigh. Yes,
they did. I did see that. But yeah, no, I'm out. I'm out on all sporting events. And again, I've never watched a game, so it makes sense.
The thing is, I actually have I went to a lot of Steeler games, like in between like 2001 and 2011. My family had two season tickets that we would split with other family members. And so I would go to probably 3 or 4 games a year at Heinz Field, and with like my dad. And then I was in college at Pitt, and he was able to come pick me up and stuff, 'cause I was right there. And like, I have a lot of great memories doing that. I think it's just a totally awful experience when you're not the home team. But when you're a fan of the opposing team, it's horrific. It's just not fun.
Here's my probably my most hated take about pro sports or any sporting venue. No alcohol should be sold.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like I mean it's not a bad take.
Zero booze, and anybody who even looks tipsy should not be allowed to enter the stadium. Like you have to be stone cold sober to enter. You are escorted out if you are displaying. Like this fighting stuff has got to end. It's got to go. Like we should not be seeing 10 videos a week of someone being bludgeoned almost to death and an NFL game. And this is all because of alcohol.
It's crazy. David says, I could have sworn you guys went to a Capitals game together or something a handful of years ago. One of the last times you got together pre-pandemic. I went, and Denny met up with us afterwards. That was the situation there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We traveled down to
great memory. Wow.
Yeah, that is a good memory. Because that was like 2017. Because the Pens won the cup that year. I don't know if you heard, Denny, but they went back to back. They won the
Did they win 2 in a row?
2 years in a row. That's what happens when you go back to back. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Next question at C2C 1997. Can Denny speak on becoming BFFs, best fart friends with Adam Levitan after Adam's own Fartgate? Can you explain to the people what happened here with Levitan?
Yeah. Look, Adam Levitan, former Roto World guy, current established the Run, podcast co-host with Evan Silva, legend. He has been accused by the woke mob of farting on a podcast. Evan has actually ganged up. He's joined the woke mob, and he said,
"Oh wow, sounds like I am the Silva in this."
He farted, like Adam farted, and Adam denies it with great vigor. Yeah. And I appreciate that, and I respect it, and I join Adam in condemning anyone who is out here irresponsibly accusing podcast hosts of farting on air. I've told you before. Not only did I not fart, I've never farted. Okay, so me and Adam have been falsely accused. It's unfair. It's unseemly, honestly, and we will be filing suit.
We need one of those monitors to. I've seen the AOC, not Aiden O'Connell. I'm getting political here. Of her doing this is just a random clip I saw where there was a Fartgate with her, and someone put like the thermal, like, like the look on the video, and there was like gas that sprayed behind her.
No way.
During I mean, it could easily be fake. I could just be spreading complete fake news right now. But it was definitely a thing that was at least I saw it on TikTok.
Anyway, I'm in solidarity with anyone who has been accused of farting on air, because again, I didn't fart.
I also saw a TikTok of someone who said that there are two types of people in this world and they marry each other. There are the people who grew up in I can't remember how she phrased it, but it was funny. But like fart accepting homes and non-fart accepting homes. And I can tell you right now, 1,000,000% we were a fart accepting home.
Was it, what did Amanda come from?
The opposite. Yeah. And then when you combine, your house becomes a fart accepting home.
That's funny. Yes, you're right, JJ, because my home was definitely not accepting. Okay. Yeah. Like if you needed to fart, then you got to go do it by yourself. Like that was that sort of thing.
No, ours was like you got to fart. You're laying on the ground. You just got to like lean back and
that's how my wife's family is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was actually like hilarious and like alternately hilarious and horrifying. The amount of farts that I would hear on a daily basis there.
So are you guys now, is your home a fart accepting home?
Yeah.
Fart positive home. I think that might be the phrase.
Fart positive. I don't, but the kids will just let it rip. Yeah. And be like, ha ha ha.
See, that's funny because okay. I feel like the people who come from the non-accepting homes probably are a little bit afraid to really to let them loose, to just let it go.
I don't. If I truly have to, and I won't confirm I have to, I go in the backyard. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, we are an accepting home. We are an accepting home.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think every home should be. Next question is from @Arnie M. Bluford. Draft of the best Tom Hanks movies. Do you wanna pull up his IMDb really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll do a Tom Hanks movies draft.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, this is really good.
This is good podcasting.
This is really good podcasting.
Okay.
Do you want the 101?
No, you go.
He has some really good movies. You want me to take the 101?
Well, yeah, but I'm not like seeing like. Oh, okay. I got a list now.
Okay.
Yeah, you go.
We'll do 3 rounds. Okay, and I'll write them down.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna kick things off. Okay. I'm gonna go with Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
And that's my 101. I feel like that's the safest pick there.
Yeah, that is good. Green Mile.
Green Mile's good. You get 2 because you're at the turn.
Sorry. And yeah, Green Mile, and we're going with That Thing You Do.
Oh wow, you're going with That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's you're playing to the crowd a little bit, but I like it.
I'm playing to a one-man crowd. I'm kidding. No, I really do. I've always loved that movie.
Okay, I'm gonna see. This is the problem: is that I have 3 movies and I only have 2 picks here at this turn, because I have 3 movies. One of them we talked about last time as a very good underrated movie of his, a sports movie. But I'm not going to go with that movie. I'm going to go with Apollo 13.
Okay.
And Forrest Gump.
You went with the Gump. I knew you'd go with the Gump.
Yeah, I mean, I have to stick with the take that it's a good movie. So my 3 movies are here. We'll wait until you pick your last one.
It looks like he made a Hologram for the King, which is a book. I read that book last year. It's really good. You
get one more.
All right, sorry. Let's go with oh man, let's go with that. Catch Me If You Can.
Okay. So we need people to vote. You can hit us up at Late Round FF on Twitter. My 3 movies are Saving Private Ryan, Apollo 13, and Forrest Gump. Pretty chalky. Denny went with Green Mile, That Thing You Do, and Catch Me If You Can. If you had to sit down for one weekend and watch 3 movies, which set would you watch?
Yeah, there you go. And you can't mix them. You got to choose one or the other.
Yeah, you can't mix them. I'm actually surprised we didn't choose A League of Their Own.
I was leaning. I was torn between League of Their Own, and I feel like Tom Hanks is not in A League of Their Own enough.
Yeah, like he's kind of like a tertiary character.
Yeah, it's not, like he like there's like an hour or more of that movie without him at all.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But he's still an important piece of the movie. IMO.
Already the people are hating on my list. Oh, great.
Yeah, of course they are. It was a bad list.
If you do say so.
Especially That Thing You Do. I'm just kidding. Love you, Tom. Next question at Mushugana. Just finished a science fair project with my kid. On a scale of 1 to I rather eat my own eyeballs, how much do you enjoy helping your kids' homework with their homework? I'm not at that age yet, so Denny, you can give the take.
I don't mind it yet. I'm sure I'm gonna hate it at some point, but I have been fascinated by the new math, the kids new math stuff.
Oh yeah, what is it? Common Core?
Because look, I know some of my age. I'm 40. I'm supposed to say, oh, we did math different in my day. We did math right in my day. They don't do it anyway. No. I reject that completely. They're doing math right now. Okay, this is the correct way to approach math because it is applicable. They're teaching kids how to actually use math in their everyday life. And that is something I did not learn at all. That's why math always was so uninteresting, so deeply uninteresting to me because I didn't see any real life application for it. But they do a good job of reversing that today. So.
I loved math in school. It's probably not a shock. But
no, it's not.
I loved it. Like I was a couple years ahead in math throughout like high school. It was the only subject that I was like,
really.
Yeah. But then like, like every English I was whatever with and all that. But math was like the subject that I would crush.
What were you taking like senior year of high school? Math.
I was done with calc by then.
Wow.
Yeah, I had already taken calc. I took calc in 11. So I was 2 years ahead. I took pre-calc in 10th and then calc in 11th. And then I took stats in my senior because it's just like an extra like elective type math course.
Can I tell you a deep, dark secret just between you and me?
Sure.
I had to take remedial math in college.
Did you?
I was that bad. Okay.
Wow.
I had to spend my first semester in college doing remedial non-credit math because I tested so terribly. I was just not interested in math at all. I couldn't make myself interested. I was good in English, good in history, good in all that stuff. But math, my dad got me a tutor. Okay.
Yeah.
In high school, and it didn't work. It didn't help at all. It didn't work.
I loved it, and I ended up taking another stats course in college just because I liked it, and I wanted to. Like, I'm not even kidding. And it's funny how it all kind of came together for me because now it's such an important piece to my career.
Yeah.
But I get the question all the time where people are like, "Oh, did you go to school for math?" And my answer is no, but I was always just like pretty good at it, and so I can pick things up and talk about it and stuff like that. I'm not. I'm like compared to like other analysts, I'm like a 75th percentile math guy, but I can at least speak on it and talk about it and stuff.
Yeah, we have geniuses in this industry.
There's really some really smart people. Yeah.
By the way, if your math was so good, then how did you fall for Tony Pollard? Huh?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
For real, moron. Next question at Steak Knife Ob. This is my favorite handle on Twitter. It's obviously a steak knife. I've had 3 different coworkers come and go in the cube next to mine in the last 2 years. All 3 of them have clipped their fingernails in the cubes. Am I the weird one for clipping my fingernails at home?
No, that's gross. Don't do that in public.
Can I just make a confession? I'm a nail biter.
Oh no.
I'm a nail biter.
Oh yeah, I bite the hell out of my nails. Yeah.
I haven't used scissors or nail clippers in 20 years.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that. Did it change at all during COVID? Because during COVID, I stopped biting my nails and they grew in and I had to use clippers.
No, I just washed my hands before I bit them.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, my nails are just chewed to hell. They're actually horrifying. I try never to have them pictured in anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I do cut my toenails. I don't bite my toenails. But, I'm not gonna lie. I did when I was like a kid. I would bite my toenails.
You were that flexible?
Oh yeah, I can still put my foot to my face right now.
You can't.
I'm not gonna do it on camera, but yeah, I can.
I'm picturing it right now.
imagine my foot just coming up. You guys can't see it, just a foot up to my face, just kind of chilling out here.
Dude, if my life depended on it, if someone was like, it was like you know, you are going to die if you don't chew your own toenail, I would say, well, shoot me, because I can't do it. I cannot do it.
Like physically, you can't get to your toes.
I can't get to them. There's no way.
No, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that flexible, but I've always been. But I'm not one of those weirdos that can like put my leg behind my head and my neck. You know, you know what I'm talking about? Like the people that can like walk around like that. I can't.
Yeah, I feel like I would have known that somehow, but yeah. Look, I cut my toenails anywhere between every 3 to 9 weeks, depending on how things are going.
There's a couple. So Diego says JJ's going to start a toenail chewing OnlyFans. and then Ren Piper says JJ looking like a cat cleaning its butthole while he's biting his toenails. Look, I don't bite my toenails, guys. I'm just saying, number one, I'm flexible enough to be able to do that. Number two, I did a little bit as a like an 8-year-old. Okay. And this is not. Yeah. And as Vidima says in chat, says JJ can see his own tees. Unreal. But yeah, I mean, like you're not abnormal for not clipping your nails in the office. I think that's a little bit it's a little bit aggressive behavior in the office.
Just rude.
Yeah, right. I haven't been in an office in since 2013 working consistently, so things might have changed over the last decade. But
are they still making the Office reboot?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. We kind of threw that out there on the show one day, and I haven't followed up with it at all.
Yeah, Office reboot unlikely.
Oh, there's a shocker. All right, next question. At Justin White VA, what was the more criminally cringe primetime commentary in the last 2 weeks? Al Michaels saying Bryce Young doesn't have enough tush to push, or from Tarico, Shakir is moving like Shakira. In an economy of limited resources, which should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law?
I can't say anything about Tarico, but I will say that Al Michaels, that's funny.
I think that's a decent one. I agree. He
doesn't have any tush to push. He would have to be hospitalized if they did the tush push.
Do you think Al Michaels has lost it? Did we talk about this? I feel like we might have talked about this.
Completely lost it.
Yeah, he's just not very enthusiastic anymore. But did you hear last night, I sent a tweet about this. I thought it was hilarious. But Joe Buck called Little Jordan Humphrey. Like he literally he said, like, it was kind of like a mix between Lil and Little, but it sounded like Little Jordan Humphrey. Like there's this little boy who caught this pass, and
that's funny. He formalized it. That's what he did.
There was also Mark Sanchez this week saying brown on brown crime, which was not the smartest thing in the world.
Yeah, with Diami Brown against a DB named Brown for the Seahawks. Hey, by the way, you know what I did? I was in studio this weekend with Matthew Berry and the guys for NBC, and I
saw that, by the way. Great job. I saw some of the clips and stuff.
Thanks, appreciate it. I did that thing where I've criticized this thing that people on air do, but I had to do it because it actually is necessary. You know how like Troy Aikman always says like the Dallas Cowboys or the National Football League or the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I had to do that a couple times because I had to give myself an extra beat to think of what I was saying.
100%.
And so I ended up being like, look, when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, you're talking, and so I did that, and I was like, what have I become? I've become the guy who's like the National Football League as I'm trying to generate a thought,
I can't even tell you. There are times where when I'm recording the late round podcast, because I re-record things and I make sure that it's really clean so that, people can get it as quick as possible and consume it as quick as possible, or like video stuff that I'm doing and I'm re-recording because my brain goes way, way faster than my voice. Like I have an issue with that, like a legitimate issue. And if I went to that's why I'm always so enamored / I just think that what someone like Field Yates does is so impressive.
It's crazy impressive. Yeah.
Like he is so good, doesn't stumble at all. It's just so clean with the way that he presents things. And
field is the greatest.
He is so good at his job. And I don't think people respect what he does. And really most people on like ESPN and these like bigger, those people are so good at what they do.
They are. Michael Smith was hosting the Sunday show at the NBC headquarters. And I was just like in awe. Like I had to stop being in awe because I had to be focused on my job on the desk. Right. And the way that he like flawlessly moved from one topic to the other, from one player to the other. And like, and when things kind of broke down and like became improvised, he was still able to manage it. I'm like, how are you doing this? How are you this good?
Yeah. It's part of the reason why I have no desire to ever like go that direction, to like be on TV. And like, I've done like TV spots and stuff in the past, but I'm just not very good at it. And I'm not going to like try to become something that I'm really not that comfortable with. I'm more, this is sort of my medium that I enjoy a lot more. And I think I can get my points across a little bit better, but I give all praise. Like I worked with Lisa Kearney a lot, right? With FanDuel. Yeah. And she's incredible at what it's just amazing to me how well they can just speak without slipping up and without stumbling and I'm stumbling every other sentence that I speak. It's crazy.
Yeah. Connor Rogers is another guy I work with at NBC where I'm just like constantly like, that's amazing. Like, I can't believe you just did a whole show without stumbling once over anything and being perfectly on cue with every single part of the show. How did you do that?
Yeah. My brain's going in 45 different directions. I have no idea how they can be that focused. It's crazy. I had to think of like the next like 8 stats that are going to pop up into my head. And I have no idea how they do it.
I had to scramble a couple times, and I actually said the words on air. I'm sorry. I was like Keenan Allen over the past 3 games. I'm sorry. Oh yes, 45% target.
Nice. All right, that's going to be it for today's show because we are past an hour. Denny, let everyone know where they can find you.
At CD Carter 13 on the X Machine. You can find me on the Blue Sky posting. And find my regression files on NBCsports.com on Wednesday morning.
I'm on Twitter at Late Round QB. I have a YouTube channel, as you guys know who are watching this, the Late Round FF YouTube channel. So it's youtube.com/@LateRoundFF. Instagram, Late Round FF as well. TikTok. I'm on TikTok too. I don't know if you. I don't show my face on TikTok. I just have clips that are from the podcast on TikTok, but it's Late Round FF. So check all of that out. Denny, let's get some milkshakes. Let's hope that week number 11 is better than week number 10.
Yes, please.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Live in the Stream. We hope you enjoyed the internet podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes now. It won't take long. It's fast. For more fantasy football info, check out
LateRound.com and NBC Sports Edge.
Hope you come back soon as we share about the teams and as we live in the stream.